I remember watching it go down. Holy fuck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was around for this shit, so. Because this is what fucking kicked off the fucking war between Sargon and fucking Medicare, to the point where the fucking child army gets brought up again as an argument.
Yep. Yeah, this was like fucking round two. It was fucking great. This is funny.
Now, of course, Bannon was intimately involved with Gamergate behind the scenes.
Hang on, man. Hang on. You said it yourself. Trump is a giant troll. Trump is a giant troll. You said it repeatedly in this conversation, and you're right.
Yeah, he is.
No, but you don't. No, listen, right. I can't tell you what I've been told, but you don't even understand the depths of how much he enjoys trolling, right? And I can't. I'm not. It was all off the record, so I'm not going to say anything. But this is a fact. Trump is a troll, and we know he is. He likes to make them scream.
You understand you're coming on a stream and making a public statement that you've talked to people in the.
Well, maybe you should try and sabotage it by sending it to whoever. Go, Jenny, go.
Oh my God, you're such a pretentious. Will you just let me talk?
You're not listening.
You're the idiot saying you want to set up this trolling op, and then here you are openly talking about it because you're fucking stupid. And then you're saying you know people that know Trump and that he's in on the know on it. You dumb.
Didn't say he's in on the know. I told Jim, you keep doing this. You make up.
God, you're stupid. You're so fucking dumb. It's painful. What is the matter with you?
I didn't say he's in on it.
How many things do you have to murder and touch and latch onto and kill? I don't think you should get into
that, Jim. You're currently in the middle of what murder.
How many things do you need to fucking murder and co-op Sargon?
You're the one who does that. I'm trying to actually.
How many burnt bodies need to be in the pyre for you to be satisfied?
I don't know. How big's your pile?
Way less than yours, man.
I don't think it is, Jim.
You're the fucking listen to shit.
This is the thing. What Medicare is referencing is that he specifically blames Sargon and a few other key players back in Gamergate for the death of Gamergate.
Oh yeah. Like he
when he left,
just got
when he left his goodbye letter.
Yeah, he was so fucking frustrated with how fucking stupid they were.
Yeah, because he considers Sargon to be a grifter. I mean, it's debatable. I think he's just an idiot who actually believes in what he says for the most part. But there was like a bit of a, I don't know so much you would call it a grifting scheme, but he tried to make a video game.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing
kind of like I can't remember if it was like I can't remember if it was like an RTS or something, but he had sunk like so much money in development, he was trying to recoup losses through donations during Gamergate.
Yeah.
And that was like the start of it, because everyone was doing fucking like 5-hour Google call streams, and they were all talking about like, oh, what's going to happen next? They were speculating shit, and then people started grifting. I think he even blames Matt Jarbo as being one of the biggest grifters, even though he was like the flashpoint for it.
Yeah, Jarbo came in late on that shit. Even when I was covering it, like he wasn't like Johnny on the spot with that shit.
No. It was him that he was the flashpoint for what started Gamergate. Remember his video, "Hell hath no fury like a lover's scorn."
Oh, okay. You're getting into that
because Zoe Quinn flagged it down. Yeah.
Oh.
Zoe Quinn flagged it down. He made a video. Yeah, she false DMCA'd it, and he made a video talking about it, and that's what kicked it off, because it was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Oh, okay. All right, that I didn't know.
Then, like, that was the flashpoint, but what really turned it into, like, the shot heard around the world was on September 26th, when I think it was, I want to say about 20 different gaming news sites released the Gamers Are Dead article.
Okay, yeah. See, like, that
and
side of it,
they would have bylines like,
and then the whole, like, magazine stuff and everything is all I really ever knew of it.
No. It was all tied back to Matt Jarbo.
Really? Okay.
And his video getting false strike by Zoe Quinn. Because that was the flashpoint that started the, like, you know, the countdown timer for the powder keg to explode.
Okay. Dude, that makes it so much funnier that there's also the side of this with the Boulder stream where then Matt gets taken down for false flagging. Oh my god. That was so like one of the reasons why they were so pissed at him. They were so pissed at him. It's like, dude, you were false DMCA. You were false flagged. We had an entire movement start because of your fucking video. Oh my fucking god. That's fucking.
And that's why that's why it's like extra fucking hard for like when it happened to Ralph 2 years later.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I never
the
knew
fucking
that. See,
poetic irony of it all.
I knew all the Zoe Quinn like magazine side of it and everything else. Like that's the stuff that like I've always heard and knew. But like and
No,
like
because the video that
the
the video that he had made that got flagged down was him going over Eric Groney or Grangi. I forget how to pronounce his surname, but it was the boyfriend that Zoe was cheating on with 5 other guys. 2 of them happened to be
magazine.
editors
Yep.
or like yeah, for online news sites. Like I think it was Rock Paper Shotgun and Kotaku.
Yeah.
If I remember, I know Rock Paper Shotgun was one of them,
Yeah, I'm pretty
and
sure
they had
Kotaku
given
was
like
the other.
reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like sets
So
for
basically,
reviews and like so I knew that side. I never knew that was Jarbo though. That's funny.
Jarbo was going over this guy's like I guess you could say unaliving note,
Oh my
because he
god.
was really depressed at this time, and he ended up committing like
Oh wow, he ended it.
seppuku.
Okay.
Yeah, he basically bought the Harry Carey kit, but
Okay.
uh but that fucking letter, he accuses Zoe of being a fucking hypocrite. Basically, her version of cheating is exactly what she did to him. And he was just like so fed up and frustrated with it that Matt ended up reading it and decided to make a video going over all of it. Zoe flags down and false DMCA's his video to the point where it like got yeeted and he re-uploaded it. Then the re-upload got fucking like flagged down yet again. So there was something in there that she didn't want known. And that was the
Oh.
flashpoint that kicked off the entire fucking movement until it went into fucking overdrive and we were at war on September 26th.
Oh shit. Okay. Dude,
Hmm.
that makes a lot of other things make more sense. Like with the whole Boulder stream and like God, so much like I can
Yep.
understand like Medicare getting disenfranchised with shit too because like he wouldn't give a I know he didn't give a shit
Hmm.
about the political side of it, which is where it eventually turned. But like
Yeah.
oh my god, that would make sense on why he was so avidly involved with stuff and everything else because I mean, he really is like a big free speech like in a way. Like he believes you should be able to say shit on the internet without repercussions and that would be like in direct opposition where here's somebody I know that is getting repercussions because they just put out a video.
Yeah, but it followed up before like even the articles came out. There was also the drama with the fine young capitalists getting their fucking fundraiser taken down, which was basically being touted by the games journalists as being this racist, womanizing group of evil white men trying to keep women out of the like games industry.
Okay, and
And
that feeds
it,
into the
it
other side of things that I've heard. I never knew it was them. I didn't know it was them per se, but I've heard about a
no, no,
fundraiser
no.
getting taken down.
Yeah, and then there was like the fucking bullshit surrounding Mighty Number Nine, a Mega Man spin-off game, or
Yep.
like I guess you could say a spiritual clone of it.
Yeah.
Made basically made by like these feminist types, if I remember correctly. And Medicare was covering that when he went under Internet Aristocrat. So it was all like congealing, and it was just mundane Matt's fucking video that like put all the pieces together because then you could start connecting dots of who knows who's been fucking who, and who's been getting paid off for shit. So
Any number now. I'm sorry, I'm like thinking on that. I know I've watched something on that too, which is funny that I didn't even
yeah,
know it
there's
was unrelated to Gamergate.
it was related technically. It wasn't like one of the key talking points, but it was just like one of those things that you were able to connect the dots like to previous events. Because one of the other things when we were like warring with Kotaku, we found out about the game's journos list and we were able to link back to why Fallout New Vegas never got the fucking rating it deserved on
Okay.
Metacritic. Is because Bethesda had paid off some journalists to like keep it under. That way they didn't have to or they didn't pay, they bought them off with like gifts and shit
Yeah.
in order to not fulfill the bonus obligations for the contracts for the workers at Obsidian.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of fucking corruption that was exposed within like the first few months of Gamergate. And you could thank like the email list of Games Journos or Game Journos Pro, thanks to Milo Yiannopoulos.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know Yiannopoulos was in this. Oh my god.
Yeah, he was there at the beginning. Some people thought he was being a bit of being a grifter himself because he had written articles like a few months before Matt Jarbo's video happened where he was arguing against free speech and expression and shit.
Okay.
But then again, Milo's a bit like off kilter anyway.
Okay. Man, that's crazy. I didn't know like so many of those things were involved.
Yeah, like this is the flashpoint. That's where they all got their start and grouped and coalesced and knew each other from. Was from the fucking Gamergate days, and Matt Jarbo was like the central, like I wouldn't say the figure piece, but he was a pretty big piece.
pivotal piece, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
Huh.
You know the Steel series gaming headsets and Bully
Yes.
Hunters?
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was tied to Gamergate. And
Really?
yes. Because even though like most of the pro Gamergate shit like subsided around the ass end of 2015, it continued into 2016, which I think is roughly the time frame for Bully Hunters to be set up, because they were literally using Gamergate as like a fucking reason for their propaganda for it to even exist.
Yeah, I remember that. I think I covered.
And then here's the tie-in to commentary outside of like Matt Jarbo and Keemstar.
Yeah.
It's like Logan Paul. I think it was Logan. It could have been the other Paul brother, but one of the Paul brothers starred in an episode of Law and Order SVU, in which it was centered around Gamergate. And and it was like one of the shitty writing room like examples you'd be given if you went to college for like a writer's class. And they basically painted gamers like with all the fucking stereotypes, but turned them into fucking kidnapping, bomb-wielding terrorists who were delusional enough to think that life is a video game. And one of the Paul brothers was the ringleader who basically kidnapped and was holding hostage a fucking stand-in for Anita Sarkeesian named Reina, insert slur word for Indian. Like literally, that was like the Poon,
God.
you know the
Yeah,
Poon. Yeah,
yep.
that was her fucking surname in the show.
Oh my god.
And she was like a feminist game developer and whatnot, and it was just so fucking dumb. And they also pulled the fucking like magical N-word trope with fucking is it Ice-T, where it's like he fits in the role for knowing like very eclectic shit.
Yeah.
And apparently he's like a big gamer, and he's the one who he's the one at the end of the episode, I believe, that shoots one of the Paul brothers.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's fucking great. I didn't know all that.
Yeah.
I
think that was in.
I know the episode you're talking about too. It's funny because I believe I've
Yeah.
seen it at least once.
And you know what's even crazier? Like there are other stories I could bring up here, but Sargon and a bunch of the others were like coming up with ideas to hold meetups at bars in different major cities.
Yep.
Well, you've heard about like the one in DC, right? Where there was a bomb called into a bar that was like 2 blocks away from the White House.
I swear I did hear about this when I was looking at stuff.
Yeah, that was because the thing was like at that time, I think it was in early 2015 or late 2014 when that happened. And this little top-down shooter called Hatred was released on Steam.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, one of the like most vocal anti-Gamergaters, who was like, I guess you could say Ian Miles Chong's like fucking Korean brother or something, who was like the quickest, the quick draw to the fucking buzzer on Jeopardy, where he had like the most points because he kept like hitting the buzzer first, like he had that instant reflex. Even though he would get answers wrong all the time, he just scored up points by being the first one to answer. It's suspected that he's the one who called in the fake bomb threat, because he made a tweet. He made a tweet where it's like, "This ends tonight," and then people started
Oh.
putting his face over the character in hatred after the fucking bar got shut down from multiple fucking swatting calls saying that there was a bomb in there, and there was a complete media blackout for it.
Oh my god.
You would think that a bar that got a fucking bomb threat thrown at it, and it was 2 blocks away from the White House, would be front page fucking news. Like, they had SWAT, they had ATF, FBI,
Holy
every
shit.
fucking agency was there. Homeland. And I'm thinking, like, how the fuck is the news not covering this? And then that's like when it was just like reinforcement that the media doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
that they are selective in what they present.
Yeah.
Like, that was my big clue into it.
Yeah. Well, I can understand that. Holy shit. Yeah, I know I'd seen something when I was. I'm going back to like literally. I covered this because I covered the bully hunter shit. I swear to God, it was like my first or second stream, and like I remember seeing that. That's where like I remember seeing shit, but God, I don't even remember all of that. That's fucking nuts.
Dude, I think I was like 22 or 23 at the time when it happened. So it's just like, it's one of those young memories in your life. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
It's like, this is supposed to be like about video games, not terrorism.
Well, especially if you were a lot more intimately involved with it. Like I was AFK for a lot of that shit. Like I was
I mean,
getting
I
drunk
was,
and playing Guitar Hero,
I mean,
so I missed a lot of Gamergate.
well, I mean, my main part in it was I was part of a group of people who was writing letters to advertisers to get rid
Okay.
of like Gawker.
Okay.
Because like one of the things that we ended up like having, tied to our name, like the group name Gamergate,
Yeah.
is that we ended up costing Gawker like 7 figures in ad revenue
Oh shit.
with just letter writing campaigns, like disparate groups of people who wanted to contact like advertisers for big companies, and they pulled them. And at the
Wow.
time, they were also in their lawsuit with Hulk Hogan
Yep.
over
I remember
the
that.
sex
The
tape
sex tape shit.
business.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm. So we basically financially drained them quick enough for Hulk Hogan to put them out of business
Wait, so
without
Gamergate
even
actually
knowing.
helped Hogan win the lawsuit. Holy shit.
Yeah. That's the legacy of Gamergate. It's
Oh
like
my
you
god.
wonder why we are such a fucking boogeyman to them, to the left specifically, is because we will cost you fucking money if we put our minds to it.
Oh my god. That's fucking funny. I mean, god. That's insane. That it really is insane. Like I know the time you're talking about. I don't remember ever hearing about like any of the DC shit, which would have been odd because I would have been on the East Coast during that time. And like
Yeah, it's because of media blackout.
that's funny. Well, not funny, but like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's like fucking. It was completely absurd, and like Repsion gets roped into it because Anita Sarkeesian, um, gets like a bomb threat thrown or made against her when she was going to appear at a school in Canada to give a speak of all places, and the FBI comes knocking on Repsion's door not once but twice,
Oh
thinking
wow.
that he's the one who was like going to commit like a mass attack of some sort.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. This is a lot more deeper like storylines than I ever knew about. Because yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I was kind of AFK on a lot of this stuff. Like, okay, so like once I graduated, so like '06 to like probably I don't know, 2016, 2017, like for a 10-year span, like I was AFK when it came to like YouTube, online world, and all that shit because I was working on stuff. Like I was,
yeah.
building a career. And like then came back to it and it's like, holy shit.
I mean, I'm telling you, like it was like every other like fucking day in the first month of it, something big was like discovered or was going down. Fuck, 4chan even basically banned people who were even talking about Gamergate.
I heard about that.
4chan,
Yeah.
Reddit. I'm trying to think of some the other sites that were doing it, but 4chan and Reddit were the two big ones. Reddit's kind of obvious, but that was like the early sign of the fucking plague that is the Reddit lefty monitor or
Yeah.
moderator.
Yeah.
But 4chan of all places, it was kind of fucking like
did
dumb.
8chan?
Like it was
like did 8chan do it?
8chan was started because of Gamergate, or at least it became like the main hub for it.
Okay.
Because the guy who ran it, I think his name was Hot Wheels, and he was like this dude who was like, I want to say paraplegic, not quadriplegic, although there's a picture of him that makes him look like Stephen Hawking at 22.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so he may have been quadra. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe not Stephen Hawking, but kind of like Ricky Berwick in a wheelchair.
Okay.
But that became like the only Chan, or well, Chan site that would allow us to talk about it. And then what happened on there was kind of like due to trolls being on there, like in all Chan forums, started the board called Baphomet.
Okay.
Now, this was a neutral third party that would dox and do like the fucking pizza crank calls and everything, the swattings
Yep.
to both sides. However, Gamergate would always get the fucking short end of the stick and be blamed for it, even though it could be traced back to Baphomet.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Jeez.
yeah, we were dealing with like a lot of shit back then.
God.
Like we had pushback from all sides, but again, like the letter writing campaigns were probably the only successful act we ever pulled, other than charities and because we actually recouped the losses for the Fine Young Capitalists.
Oh, really?
That was another thing that we did. Trying to think what else, but those same people would have been around for the kill stream that raised the 26,000 for St. Jude's.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be the same group of people at that time.
Yeah, I know this happens like a little farther down the line, because like this I was tangentially aware of, but like the stuff that you're talking about definitely plays in with the other side of the third video that I'm going to get into here. Thankfully, I
But yeah, like
skipping forward.
I mean, the whole thing is like you can understand why these guys go at each other's throats, because they know each other. Like they've, I don't want to like do the whole fucking stolen valor terminology horse shit, but they were at war together.
Has just reminded me. Okay, yeah, I know the guy you're talking about because of the QAnon thing. Yeah. Oh man, he took it over though. What the fuck? Why am I trying? It was the other guy in that QAnon video, Belinda. God, I can't think of his fucking name.
QAnon video.
Yeah, it's this guy is the guy you're talking about, actually.
Yep, that guy.
Yep.
That's Hot Wheels.
Okay.
In fact, him and Noel were friends, and that's how
Really?
Noel kind of got his start into like the online blogosphere.
Frederick Brennan.
Mm-hmm.
There.
Yeah, Noel was friends with this guy.
Yeah, and then this guy took it over, him and his dad, with the QAnon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
but you see what I mean? Like he's kind of like Ricky Berwick in a sense.
Yeah. Once Pez talked about it, I was like, oh yeah, no, this is the guy that actually created it, and then this guy and his dad kind of like took it over, because I think that's the father. Yeah, that's the father right there.
Yep.
But the father actually got it from this dude, but then this kid kind of actually like tangentially ended up running it.
Yeah. But like 8chan went by another name, or at least I think this might have been a board within 8chan called Infinite Chan, because if you look up like the mascot for Gamergate, which was like Vidia James or Vivian James.
JM, yes.
Yeah, Gamergate. This is a character created for us by the Fine Young Capitalists for like helping recoup their losses. And it was supposed to be in like a kind of like a Persona video game that they made. However, she went by two designs where she had a clover in her hairband, which was for 4chan. However, when we got like booted and kicked to 8chan, she ended up getting kind of like an 8, but it was sideways, and that's the infinite symbol.
Okay. Yep.
So that was like the name for the board that we were on, which was Infinite Chan.
Pez called the other guy for the 8chan shit. Fucking Doc on the radio. He does kind of have that look to him. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying all people look the same of a certain nationality, but if there's two people that look similar, yes.
Yeah. This is like some of the shit that I've like held into my fucking memory banks from that time. So
Yeah, like I would have no real everything I would get would be secondhand at this point because I was, like I said, away for like 10 years.
yeah, if you you already closed the window, but if you look down at the bottom row, second to the left, where it shows like a honey badger mask and Vivian holding it, the blonde chick there, um, yeah, you see the honey badger mask,
Oh,
fourth row all the way to the left.
oh, fourth row all the way left. Okay, yep.
That's the mask one. The one right next to it on the right.
Okay. So this.
Now, this is why I say it's like a Persona clone, because there's the anti side of Gamergate where it's like the blonde.
Okay.
Yeah, that like it was like early forms of meme culture too.
Okay.
So, like, I guess you could say this would be like the Chad versus Virgin, kind of thing.
Okay.
The Chad versus the Virgin meme
Yep.
was like the pro versus the anti Gamergate meme.
Oh my god. But no, I see the 8chan the Infinite with that
Yeah.
too.
There. But one of the other things is that there were other groups who were trying to like, they were also video game players, but they were also trying to like use the what's the word here? I guess you could say the signal boosting of anything related to Gamergate to get their shit out there too.
Okay.
And one of them was like a men's rights group called the Honey Badgers, which was a bunch of women who were fighting for men's rights when it came to parenting and whatnot.
Okay.
And if
that
you've
makes
seen
sense.
anything of Jim, where he has like the fucking what is it? That fucking hat that Canadians wear, or that you would see in that one fucking movie.
Oh yeah,
trying to-
like the floppy eared, like the ear covering hat. Like
Yeah, one of the
lumberjack
guys.
cap. Is what I'll call
Yeah,
it.
the Ashunka is what I think it's called, but
I know if I
he
search
has
lumberjack
that.
hat, it'll come up.
Yeah, that hat right there, that hat was worn by a British YouTuber by the name of Dr. Randomer Cam, who is also tied to the Honey Badgers. And
Okay.
when the fucking bathtub Ross shit went off, he tried reasoning with Jim and his audience. Like, look, maybe this guy isn't a pedophile, maybe he's just psychotic. And and that's what started a fucking war. Well, it was like the pretense to a war, but it was basically him trolling with Jim. So he's like, "Wow, Jim, you are so autistic." Say what? Because that was like the buzzword everyone was using. Is like autism, autism, autistic.
Yeah.
And
fuck.
it started a fucking flame war between the Honey Badgers and Medicare.
Okay.
Also, I just want to pop in here. There was actually a Kumite episode where Jim debated one of the Honey Badgers.
Oh
Yeah,
really?
that would be Randomer Cam, I believe.
No, it was one of the people that were defending him because Randomer Cam was too pussy to show up.
Was it one of the women?
Yes. Yes.
Was it like the the pixie cut blonde one?
I don't know. It was the one that was having the lawsuit or whatever.
That's not ringing any bells.
I'm actually looking for the clip because I used to listen to it. Oh, it's Allison Tiemann.
Okay, yeah, she's the brunette with the long hair, right?
Yeah. I'll send you the clip, Patrick. Then I don't
Okay.
know, so we don't have to play it like on air, but then that way you at least have it.
Yeah.
It
I'll look
is
at
a
that.
hilarious debate.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one I haven't come across. Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of like tie-ins with disparate characters that come back that Medicare talks about too, like Dr. Randomer Cam with the puppets and everything.
Okay.
And that was all because of the bathtub Ross situation, because apparently some of Medicare's, like, I guess you could say, child army, decided to convince Ross that Dr. Randomer Cam was on his side. about the pedophilia and say that he supports you and shit,
shit.
to troll with him. Even though Random Recam has like made like I think 10 different videos denouncing fucking, child endangerment and shit like that.
Oh man. That's just a total fuck over. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's a gym move. Okay.
But, well, he didn't tell them to do it. They just did it because like they were following like by example, I guess. But
Oh shit. Okay.
yeah, Jim didn't tell him to do it. Like there's no evidence that you could point to. It was just that his fan base was getting out of fucking control at the time.
Oh.
But yeah, there's just like a lot of shit that ties back to these guys, and it's like one giant fucking spider web.
I mean,
Well,
perhaps.
do you know how
Jim
that
would tell
idea came
Sargon.
about?
No, I don't. I've only ever heard
Okay.
that real stream of it.
All right, what gave Sargon the idea is because Donald Trump retweeted a post of the Expendables where Pepe the Frog was used as a stand-in for Trump with his hair, and it blew up all over the internet.
I do remember that.
However, what gave him like the extra fuel for this idea to happen is that fucking Hillary Clinton and her staffers thought it would be great to put up on her fucking on her campaign site a full-fledged fucking article talking about Pepe the Frog and how it's a sign of white supremacy and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
Because
that
Donald-
really got all the Kekistan shit going hard too.
Mhm. Chatelet
Oh, yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
That's what gave Sargon the fucking idea in the first place, was to revive Gamergate by having Donald Trump tweet about it.
So his,
Because
his
he
thought
saw
process was that if Donald Trump tweets about it, then it's going to agitate the left and make it more pronounced again, kind of thing,
Yeah.
and just basically literally mimic what happened with the Pepe shit.
yes. That was the inspiration for his plan.
Oh my god. I wouldn't even say it's inspiration. I dare say that he probably was hoping the exact same thing would happen.
Yeah, like catch lightning in a bottle twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is like fucking you could tell how hurt Jim was to where he quoted fucking Hitler on the way out. You know what the quote was, right?
No.
Okay,
I remember
I can
hearing the whole exit speech on like the disenfranchised. Like, I know the rant, the video you're talking about, even like the stream, but like I don't remember the quote because I know he did a
the
stream
quote
on it.
the quote from Hitler isn't anything to do with the Jews or anything. It was his response and how the plan was going to move forward with the war in the East against the Russians. And that was like a total war aspect retreat, in which when they retreat, they will leave nothing. They will
Scorched
burn
earth.
everything
Yep.
to the ground. They will salt the earth so that nothing can grow in its place. Like that was the speech and the idea of it that he quoted, because that's kind of how he wanted it to end for Gamergate, so that it can never, for either it or the video games industry, to never be able to grow again.
Yeah. No.
But again, it could just be like, me fantasizing, but he kind of, it's kind of debated on which he meant that for, whether it was for the games industry so that these games journalists didn't have anything, or if it was for the supporters of Gamergate because they were blinded by grifters.
Yeah, I always took it like I always took it that it was about the people of Gamergate. Like when I heard that, because I know what you're talking about, and like when I think back to the context of everything that I heard, like I can recall that, and I took it more as like, yeah, there is that dual meaning, but I thought it was more towards like the Gamergate grifters because of the way the rest of everything he talks about there goes. Like, because he was very, very chastising of it as a whole. Like, this is how it started. It was a good thing, and you guys had to go and fuck it up. Because I remember him actually saying that at one point.
Well, that's the thing. It could, I mean, even though he was quoting Hitler, there is some kind of historical, like, time flow that lines up to that being the case, because, Russia and Germany were working together,
Yep.
as far as like the war against like France and England.
Yep.
And then Hitler does like the fucking backstab.
Yep.
So in Jim's position, he'd be pretty much Stalin, but making a Hitler quote.
So basically, what you're saying is Hitler was the first commentary channel.
Well, technically, he was an influencer.
Oh my god.
Exactly, it fits.
By choice or by force, he influenced. It's a plot to
But still,
Pluma.
like, I mean, yeah, but the whole Hitler quote was like the one thing everyone was like shocked, like, because when someone figured it out, they were kind of like blowing up the headlines with it.
Oh man.
But
Yeah,
like when Jim left, it was like still within 2014 towards the ass end of it, and Gamergate
Yeah.
continued for like a good portion of 2015.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, hell, even some of it carried over in 2016.
Yeah,
I know there
I
was like straggling bits and pieces of it, and I mean, like some of this, like this right here, that parts
because
of it.
I remember like it was still going on in 2016, but I can't remember if this event happened in 2015 or 2016. But there was a somewhat of a conference, kind of like MythCon or whatnot, down in Florida, where the convention center like basically got bomb threats made and got
Okay.
swatted and evacuated and
So
everything.
like a typical furry con, okay.
Yeah, and basically like the only way how you found out about it is like someone was watching a live stream on Periscope.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And like I believe Sargon was at that one, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Yeah, because he traveled either for MythCon or for that specific convention, because it was basically a debate convention, and Gamergate was one of the topics. Because I know he traveled to America to basically be at one of these conventions where Anita Sarkeesian was speaking, and he's in the front row, and she points him out and starts yelling at him. And funny, this is another overlap. I think, if I remember correctly, Boogie was
gonna
one of
say,
the
is that the Boogie
speakers.
one?
I believe so, because he was trying to mend the bridge and got yelled at, and it was like, "Oh, I'm suicidal," blah blah blah. You know?
Yeah.
So that was it. Because that was
Yeah,
the one where he had that
Okay.
breakdown because Anita was mean to him and he was wrong about Gamergate. He took everything back
Yeah.
that he
hmm
said in pro Gamergate because he
yeah,
didn't realize it hurt Anita so much.
yeah. Basically, that's also when Rich made his. I don't know if that's when Rich made his fucking apology to Anita Sarkeesian video.
Oh fuck, I forgot about that. Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a lot of tie-in because that's when commentary got involved with the shit. And then you had like the anti-SJW commentary arc of like late 2015, early 2016.
Yeah. Fuck, I wonder if he's still there's somebody's got a copy of that. I swear.
I'm fairly certain
I've
there's
seen
one
that.
still floating around.
I've seen that recently. Somewhat
Yeah.
recently.
Then yeah, Gamergate was still being brought up because I think it was in like mid 2016. Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian went to the fucking UN to speak on women's rights.
Yeah, it was in the summer because they had that summer conference
Mm-hmm.
I've watched
and they
that
had this
fucking
entire UN conference about like social media and how it was attacking women, and Gamergate was like the actual cause of it. It was actually hilarious to think that there's like world leaders hearing these two whiners talk about how mean gamers are to them on blogs on the internet. And you have like
Yeah.
people like trying to, stop
You
nuclear
found it?
powers from bombing each other.
Yeah, and what's funny is it ties into Repsion's video.
Yeah, because of the bomb plot and everything,
Yeah, that's
where he gets
fucking
blamed.
that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
He still has it
Because that
on
would have
his
been,
channel. That's the funny thing.
yeah. Well, he doesn't have like the full video where there's the confrontation between her and Boogie and her yelling at
Yeah.
fucking Sargon. Because I believe Zoe Quinn was also there too, if I remember correctly.
From one fat guy to another one.
Oh yeah. You know what's funny is that apparently Rich made a comment on his stream tonight about Boogie, that he thanks Kino Casino for getting him into therapy, although he couldn't help but bitch about the $100 like an hour price tag on it.
Of course. Yeah, I have that one bookmarked to watch later.
Almost certain, like especially looking at like statements JF and other people have made and Zoom has made about Tonka being a snake. Like I can't think of a reason.
Zoom's an interesting character that it's one of those people that like it's hard to research. I've heard him brought up. I've even heard him brought up in like the Oreo drama and shit. This guy's like oh god, what's the other fucking one?
Plate Gang.
No, no, it was another fucking. There's another creator and I can't think of their name. I'm totally drawing a blank right now. But Zoom was another one that I've heard like that's really good at digging up shit and like really getting. It was like something like UN.
Undoomed.
Maybe.
Because I mean, the story of Zoom is like, I don't know. He's kind of been buried in the annals of like fucking both commentary and sector history because he's really just not like someone that you would really find interest in talking about unless of the times that he like pops up and like his like dramatic exit, because the only times like I can remember that he popped up was when the Just Destiny drama was happening, where Keem was trying to find out whether or not he was this pedophile or whatnot, and Zoom claimed to have found his information. Turns out it was bullshit, and he was in a call with Diorio, Keem, Mudahar, and I think there was another person.
Yeah.
And he was just like presenting like what he had found, and the guy that he found had a criminal record, and didn't even look like him. It was a complete white guy, because they didn't know that Just Destiny was like black or anything, if I'm remembering it correctly. But that's one story. Like he's basically a notorious doxer. Then there was like audio that he posted as kind of like I guess you could say a shit post of sorts.
Yeah.
Where he pretended to be like a pedophile with his girlfriend and tried to make her like watch child porn.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where like Zoom gets his negative reputation from. Is from that instance.
And the doxing. I mean, he's doxed Diorio. He's doxed.
Yeah, I can't think of the guy's name. I know that it begins with a U for sure. Like I am dead like 95% sure. It begins with a U, and I know that Diorio's talked about this guy. He's used him as like a source on shit. I probably could look it up because I think it involved the Mama Max shit. Back when he did the video. He's like, this person like actually had more information. But I can't remember. But it's somebody that I've always heard in relation to the Zoom stuff too. So I'm trying to like remember the name and I can't. And it may have been even the person that was in that call.
Because the other story with Zoom is that he was kind of like terrorizing Ralph's community for a while after like the whole pedophile shit happened.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Because like he went at Flamenco and was basically trying to get him to stop being the co-host of the Kill stream.
Yep, I remember hearing about that. Yep.
That's actually why Flamenco dropped, because he threatened to dox him. That's why Flamenco cut ties with Ralph.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was like he was also trying to expose like several of his like people in his Discord community for being pedophiles on top of it. He was holding that as like blackmail. And there's a drummer 828 video.
Okay.
Where they have the call, and you could tell like Flamenco would delete shit because apparently someone in the call mentions like, why is such and such channel deleted? And it's like suspected that's where like all the fucking lolly and pedophilic shit was at.
Okay.
Because one of Flamenco's mods was a dude who would make basically custom order sex dolls.
Okay.
And or sex figurines or statues. I forget which it is. But that was the guy he was trying to dox to get at Flamenco to get off the stream.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a bit convoluted. I mean, there's another video made by Polyfrog that I have a copy of that shows like all the twisted ties of Flamenco, like people who he's associated with who are also lolicons and suspected pedophiles.
Yeah, because I know there's a guy. The guy that I'm thinking of is kind of like the anti-Zoom, and he's like the yin to the yang, really. And I swear to God, it bothers me so much I can't think of that right now. I have no idea. And like I'm trying to rack my brain. I've heard Tommy mention the name. I've heard Nick Diorio mention the name. Who else?
YouTube channel, but
Unseen.
Wait, Unseen?
I think it's Unseen. God, that sticks out to
Maybe?
me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Unseen.
Wait, is that the same YouTuber Unseen that made like the video on flamenco and the technical situation
I
was
think
Zero?
so. Yes. I'm trying to see if there's anything. I'll try Flam.
Yeah, that's the one, the Unseen.
The Unseen. Yep, that's exactly who it is. That's who I'm
Okay.
trying to think of. And I've heard the Unseen in reference to Zoom fairly frequently. And
He might have been part of Plate Gang because there was like that was Zoom's gang of like doxers.
okay.
But there was a lot of people that would dig up information and pass it along for commentary and whatnot.
I think
But
he would be the opposite side of Zero because I know he's even still to this day got like a really good standing. Like I believe he's like a behind the scenes friend of like the Oreo. I think Augie was a friend with him. I don't know if anybody else is, but I've heard he's kind of like almost a background character that has some really good like he figures shit out. So I don't know if he's like a good doxer in that way, or finder of information.
The
Trying to see.
virtuous doxer.
Yeah,
well,
I
not a
guess you could-
virtuous. I don't know if he's a virtuous doxer, but he probably knows how to look through court records or some shit.
But yeah, he did the flamenco stuff. I know he was involved with that, and that's why I was like, God, I remember hearing somebody with a U. See, I wasn't that bad. The Unseen. But he also found some stuff with Mama Max, and it's kind of funny that it's not on here because I remember seeing that.
Well, he's probably I don't know if he'd make a video on Mama Max.
I don't know, but I know he helped get information for the Oreo. But yeah, this guy's really interesting character, if I remember right.
Well, that would actually make sense because given his like little character there, it would fit in the Nintendo family of games that they always played.
Yeah. Yep.
That's probably how they met.
Yeah. But yeah, I almost want to say I've actually watched this video on like one of my
I know
favorite
I've watched
channels.
the Great Trial of Zero because in our interview I mentioned the part where Crow appears in it.
Oh.
And
Oh
that
man.
schizo thread of who they think Katie is.
Yeah. Oh my god. God, that fucking the whole Katie thing is just fucking insane. That's another fucking off
You
the
know,
rails commentary story.
if you click on it and go past like the 2 hour mark, you'll probably see the part I was talking about.
Sorry for all the dead air.
Dear, dear.
Me Tankasa.
He's showing the this is how the Kumite used to go.
We're reenacting.
Yes. Now all you need to do is challenge Gigi to fight IRL.
I don't fight people.
Patrick fight Gigi, wrestle. Me yell at Gigi through Magic Firebox. Want super berries? Go to superberry.com to give.
Oh my god. I don't know if anybody actually knows. I've heard rumors, and I will just chalk them up to rumors. I don't know what happened to Augie. For all I know, he's dead.
I mean, he got out of the game.
Jesus,
He won.
there are spawn dials in here? Is this image lolly? Immediately tipster, cuffles,
This is image
tipsters,
lolly.
a little bit of a little bit of lyrics. More tipster. John
Here's
Swan.
Here's the lolly test. Look at the image. Do you feel uncomfortable? If yes,
Oh,
then it's
God.
lolly.
Well, let me see if I can find it again because I thought I posted it to someone in DMs.
Yeah, because I'm not finding it really quick, and I'm even like just doing a little 5-second burst just to make sure like I cover it. I'm not missing it when I scan over it.
Because I know the fucking
The Katie
part was
files a thread
yeah, the Katie file's a thread.
right here.
That should be
Yep.
it.
In case you didn't know, I've been following the case of the former Smash player Zero ever since his allegations that hit the timeline July of 2020.
Yep,
When people
this
called
is
for-
it.
Okay, this thread was terrible.
Yeah, this
It
is
can't conclusively prove
another
much of-
person. This Soryu person. I knew them a little bit, but I never really got to know them. But I know they are part of Crow's crew.
Okay.
Because
anything
I
about-
mean, the only thing is, it's like either they're like the fucking test, the test bed for some of the shit, which, I mean, this fucking thread here, all of it
Yeah.
came out of that GitHub server that Aura had,
Oh, okay.
where they compiled it. So
Oh, wow.
it's either
okay.
an alt account of theirs or it's someone else, and I believe it's someone else.
Okay.
About Katie's identity because it's based on things that are most likely complete coincidences. I'm not going to go super in depth here, so if you'd like a more detailed explanation, I'll link a thread that I had made covering this topic more closely. But the basic gist of it all is that this thread asserts that Katie is actually a 26-year-old Twitter user, placing her at approximately 18 years old during the time that Zero messaged Katie. The only
I've heard
problem
that.
is that the only connection between these two people is they had the same incredibly generic
The image. It was the fucking wasn't it?
Yeah,
The,
no, it was the same
avatar?
username.
Oh, it was the same username.
username.
That and
This, of course, is
the
not
other one is because when I forget who asked him, I'm thinking it was either Tech or it was Aura who asked him, like, asked Zero, do you remember what character she played in Smash? And it lines up with a character that they liked in
Oh.
several different posts.
Okay.
Wasn't
Okay.
it Kirby?
Yeah, Kirby, I think it was, or it wouldn't be King DDD, I don't think, if I remember correctly.
I think it was Kirby because they were making jokes about like sucking and eating and shit.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
right. Yes.
Yeah, it would be
Yes.
Kirby then.
proof
But
of
keep,
anything, which means
playing
that this
it.
thread frames some random person off of basic coincidences. To show how dumb this thread is, its creator even deleted more than half of it later on due to lack of concrete evidence. I reached out to the creator of this thread myself, and he even admits that he got quote-unquote way too schizo when making the thread. Also, coincidentally, a day before the thread was posted, a small YouTuber named Crows of Judgment, or Comic Crow, streamed discussing the
Here
exact
it
same
comes.
false information. Here,
There's-
Crow says
there
that he
I
found
am.
all of this information, and I'm not joking
Just
here,
so
in half
tubby.
an hour while he was drunk and high.
Like the fucking tipster.
He
Why the
just
fuck
fills
do
up
I
the screen.
care about this fucking whore Katie? I honestly, no shit, I don't. I really fucking don't. And yet, me and my friends can take like the half fucking hour it took to look into it. I'm not kidding. As soon
Always
as
so
we
angry.
saw the username, it took us about 30 minutes to find her identity. Because we did this shit drunk and high off our fucking asses.
What a fucking idiot. Now, you might be asking, why does some
What a fucking idiot.
Oh, that was good.
dumbass making a thread even matter? Well, to answer that question, 3 days later, Zero himself promoted the thread, saying, "A very important thing to look through and consider in my case that somebody compiled in their free time. Read through if you are actually open to changing your mind." On top of this being dumb as fuck,
Okay,
when the girl
OJ.
the thread accused of being Katie chimed in pleading with Zero to tell his audience that she is not Katie, Zero responds like a fucking anime villain. Yeah, I don't know. Let's make this easy. Go talk to technicals and verify your identity.
So, like DMs or here? The whole ordeal is because of pictures, right? You've probably seen the girl's face in those times. I do have IRL photos to show I'm not Katie, if that's the case.
No, I have no idea what the fuck they look like at all, but you can DM technicals. Thanks for cooperating. All of this just goes
Yeah,
further.
this is why Zero has no remorse.
Yeah.
He is a complete and
Christ.
utter fucking asshole. And I did the whole, like, excuse. And Crow was capping for this guy. Like,
God damn. Where's
Well,
the comic crow?
Comic
Can
Crow,
I
Crows of Judgment.
Yeah, well,
ask
I'm just
a
saying, where's the
question
comic
here?
crow?
Can I just ask something here? So, if it turns out that, Katie was still 18, or Katie was 18, and
Yeah.
it was this catfish, does that change the intent that Zero still thought
That they
that
were underage.
the person was 13? Yeah, like, does that change anything?
Doesn't for
Or
me.
does that just
Well,
make there be two scummy people now?
well, technically,
I mean, it would be age role
Crow.
play, so
Well, Crow and the others have made arguments like that in the past when it comes to the mindset of a predator.
yeah, I'm kind of curious.
So they
what
would
was their logic?
argue. Well, they would argue if this wasn't someone that they liked, they would argue that the mindset is that he believed that they were 14 at the time, therefore he's a pedophile.
Yeah,
However, when it came to Zero, it's like, oh, he's just a dumb teenager.
I just okay. How old was Zero at the time of this stuff happening?
19.
I was
Okay,
gonna
that's
say
old
like
enough.
early 20s.
That's old enough in my opinion. Like I don't care if you believe they were underage. Like honestly, up till like 16, 17, I would almost given them fucking charity. But god damn, like 19, you should at least know like this is a bad idea. I think you.
Well,
I
I
think you've
mean,
developed enough independent thought by that age that you should know this.
well,
This not good.
well, you got to understand, like, Technicals is going to go with the most bullshit argument I've ever heard, is that he's a foreigner.
Yeah, he's
He's
from
Chile.
Panama or something, right?
Yeah,
Chile.
Chile.
he's from like a country where, you know, age of consent is like a foregone conclusion.
So what? You're not
But
there
you adapt to
now.
the culture where you move.
Yeah.
Well, it's like he moved here not when he was 19, but younger, so he should have known by that point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because wasn't there a bunch of shit like he did weird shit like look at porn on the computer in like common areas in the house
Yeah.
he
nah,
was staying on and
that
shit?
was what Jisoo accused, and there were like too many inconsistencies with her accusations. Like the
Okay.
whole, she claimed that he was looking up for hookers on what was that one website?
Craigslist.
Like a
Yeah,
backdoor.
Craigslist.
Yeah.
No, not because that shit got taken down like years before she
Okay.
accused him of doing it.
Okay.
And then there was like playing hentai on the big screen in the common room, which
Yeah.
there were several witnesses that told her like that didn't happen.
Okay. All right. I never heard the dispute of that, but like I know there was a bunch of things like that he did that were just weird. And like I will not classify them as anything other than just weird. But like when you add up the totality of everything, it's kind of like
Well, I mean, even this
When you paint the
dumb
picture.
even this dumb motherfucker couldn't even go the full measure when he was doing the whole court case against Jisoo to correct the story about messaging an underage child and like, you know, about sexy photos and whatnot.
yeah.
He was just mad at he was just like trying to get her to take back the claim of flying her out to fuck her.
The whole thing that bothered me with all that was he only kind of fessed up to it in a supposed suicide note, and then he was coerced basically in order to make that. That
Yeah,
always
I'd like to see
fucking bothered
Technicals do that for Boogie.
me.
Because this dude used to be a chunky motherfucker. So, I mean, it's the same mindset, just a pathological liar.
Oh my
He has the
God.
same attitude as Boogie, too.
Yeah. Man, that'd be fucking funny. He was coerced into being cancered.
I didn't want to lie about it, but I bet you it was Keemstar put me up to it.
Oh my
Keemstar
God.
made me lie about my cancer.
You know that
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time Keem has done forced drama before.
well that's the thing is that honestly if he tried to go that route people would probably believe it. Like
Probably. I mean-
it's buyable enough that it's like yeah, no, I can see that shit.
But yeah, that was the part I was mentioning in that interview.
That's funny. Oh man, we've gone so off topic, but yeah.
Let's continue.
I mean, does anything ever stay on topic around here?
We've gone. There is a logic to this. I will reiterate the logic. We went from Zoom
Okay.
to me not knowing who the unseen was to me remembering who the unseen was after an inordinate amount of time, to then going into the unseen had a video where Gigi was featured, and that's why we watched that.
well, I was more of a background character in that
Yeah,
one. Because he didn't play any of the parts where I opened my mouth.
And Crow got called a dumbass.
The business as usual.
That was a fun little detour, but there you go. That summed up the
But
truth.
yeah, the Just So Tubby account, like that was like my tipster alt on Twitter as well.
I think I've seen that before. That's a funny thing. Oh man.
Ralph would be the first one hit with tragedy, with both him and his wife, Nora, divorcing. Ralph would write an article about it, announcing it on February 28th, 2020. Almost 5 years ago, I met the...
Okay. I'm not going through all this.
You know, when people say what was Ralph's downfall moment, that's what I think.
The divorce.
The divorce.
Yes, because he really loved Nora, And I think that as much as you've seen here, she helped keep him in check. And when she left, this is when the spiral got really bad.
I think it was.
You know, that actually makes a
everything.
lot of sense because that would explain why he would go with the America First people.
Mm-hmm.
Is basically to spite Nora
Yeah.
because they have like that no interbreeding shit and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean,
I could see,
it
I
makes a
could see
lot of
him
sense
doing
to
that.
me. I think it's the totality of shit. So he already had Jim starting to make light fun of him, and you could tell like he's very submissive to Jim. Like I don't know if you guys have picked up on that with the
Oh, he
he
is.
can come on if he wants, and like
Well, I
he's
mean, if you
very
watch,
submissive to him, and now that friend, his closest friend with all this shit, is picking on him occasionally. He loses his
well,
dad, he gets a divorce, and loses his mother.
well, I mean, you could pretty much tell that because the Kill All Pedos video where they have Medicare narrating
Yeah.
Ethan Ralph's story, they play a clip of him talking where he's like all teary eyed and is like talking about Jim as if he's like
Yeah.
his father figure
Oh
in a
yeah,
sense.
yeah. That was such a like that shit. Like I didn't even think about that or remember that, but I know the stream you're talking about. I've actually watched it. Where like he's
Hmm.
talking about how much Jim means to me, and he gave me all this, and he's the best friend a man could ask for. And now we're at why won't you die, Medicare?
Well,
Like
you can even look at the stream that he did with Jarbo, right? Where he like almost breaks down, where he's like, "I had the worst time of my life, and I had you coming after me," and he like it really hurt him.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I genuinely think that's. I honestly think I wasn't kidding when I said like I think the fracture point is that stupid fucking Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, whatever the fuck it was, match. Because he loses so badly there. He's slightly embarrassed. And he's got Jim making fun of him occasionally. Jim's also not coming around as much. Now, we know why in hindsight. But he's
Hmm.
probably taken that personal. And then Jim's
Yeah.
getting pushed off the platform. So his best friend, the guy that really promoted him, is also getting pushed off the platform. And then on top of that, there's all the personal things that happen in the background. There's the losing the dad. There's the divorce shit. There's the arrest stuff. There's the freaking the arrest stuff was actually even before everything, so I shouldn't even say that. There's the
Yeah.
death of the mother. Like all of that, I think happening in a relatively short period of time. Just it was everything.
The other thing I'm trying to think here is like, I'm not trying to like psychoanalyze fucking Ralph because like that's just a mess and a half. That'd be like another 5 hours. But
Oh man.
the one key trait that I picked up on, if the whole Nora shit is like the key fracture point, I think fucking Ralph, the way how he deals with certain forms of trauma is I'm trying to think of the term, but it's similar to displacement.
Like a disassociation?
No, well, not disassociation. Basically, how should I put this? He takes his anger out on something else,
Oh,
but at the
okay.
same time, it's psychologically like tied to what he really hates.
Like
Like
he
with Nora,
displaces things. Like he
yeah, like displacement.
Yeah.
It's basically like with Nora, it's why he would become like this fucking like non
Woman
fucking,
hater, like
well, not just a woman hater, but like he would go for someone who's younger, who's white, not like another race.
Yeah.
He would go after basically no miscegenation, like the whole America First thing I brought up before. With Jim, I'm trying to think here. It's like the whole "why won't you die"
Yeah.
is because, like, you know how we said it's kind of like he treats him like a father figure.
Yeah.
And his father's dead. It's like, why won't you die? And his actual father is dead.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, the ghost of Christmas past. Jim is the representation of his father,
Yeah.
psychologically speaking, and
his
it's
internet
haunting
daddy.
him. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure that's like where the fucking explosive vitriol comes from, is because it's like,
It's an
you're
abandonment.
supposed to be dead.
It's almost like an abandonment issue.
Yeah.
Like
Because I mean he lost both of his parents within like 2
yeah.
years.
Yeah, which
and his wife in between. So
Yeah.
it's like everyone's abandoning him, and then he sees Medicare doing the same thing too,
or he
or at least he
perceives
perceives it as
Yeah,
that way.
yeah. I don't think that's what actually was happening, but he perceives it, and like all of a sudden, like I think slowly you get stuff like the pill stream with like flamenco and Gator and all that. Like slowly he's getting picked on more and more and more, and the guy
Same
that's
thing with
always
Null,
defended him
because
is no longer
because
there.
like some of the early jokes that PPP and Worski and everyone would pick on would be like, "Oh, you stabbed me in the back," and like one of the fucking things Ralph always says is Judas.
Yeah.
Whenever he's talking about someone he hates at the moment, like you're a
Yeah.
bunch of Judases.
Yep.
Well, that's something that they brought up on the Fuck Ralph festival, is that Ralph demands like this almost insane level of loyalty.
Well, yeah, because of abandonment issues.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but to the point where like it's impossible for somebody to reach that.
It's almost cult like.
It is, and it's almost self-sabotaging because a human literally cannot have that much devotion to a person.
No.
Like, it just cannot happen. And then when they don't reach that, then Ralph feels spited, and then he turns on them
Yeah.
because he feels justified on turning on them.
Yeah, he feels there's a perceived slight, and that's it.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of fuck. This is a tie-in to Fallout New Vegas. You know the DLC Dead Money?
I know it. I've never played it.
What about you, Jim?
It's been a while, but yeah.
Okay, like the core message of that DLC is to let go.
Yeah.
And it's based around like a casino that was built by a entrepreneur as like a fallout bunker of sorts for his one true love, which is like the starlet.
Okay.
And it was inspired by a movie, and I'm trying to think of what the Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
Okay.
Now the movie is basically like a bunch of gold rush, like people that would go and try to find gold.
Yep.
And they end up turning on each other. So it's like a double whammy with the references here. Because Ralph can't learn to let go, therefore he turns. And you have like the abandonment issues and whatnot. I just think it's a funny aside that the guys that he hates the most right now, outside of Jim, are called the Kino Casino.
Yeah, no, it's sort of kind of beautifully ironic in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like where the references tie into.
That is fucking funny. There is a lot of irony there.
Yeah, I think Worski would appreciate that because he's a big Fallout New Vegas fan.
Oh man. All right.
Dearly, Ethan, Ralph. And then things got quiet again until March 21st, 2020, when Jim would go onto the kill stream to debate Dick Masterson on the upcoming lockdowns. Unfortunately, due to the nature of the debate, I'm not allowed to show it on YouTube, but I can say that.
How horseshit is that, by the way?
Yeah, pretty dog shit.
Like, come on. Why do we censor all this shit? Like, it's gonna incite some fucking biblical fucking level riot. Like, I feel like by censoring stuff like this and by pushing it away and pushing it under and like subjugating it, like, you make it worse.
You do. You embolden people to talk more about it elsewhere.
I mean,
it's
it's
like
literally that perception of like I'd rather know my Nazis out in public, because when you subjugate them, then they sit there and they say, well, these people don't like us because of this reason, and start like talking to people and recruit them on the down low, and then all of a sudden you got fucking little underground meetings and everything happening, and that's how
Well,
you get
yeah.
uprisings and revolts.
Well,
Well,
it's
that's
the
exactly what
Streisand
happened with
effect.
Hitler.
It's like the Streisand effect, except
Yeah.
not as bombastic.
Yeah, but no, even to Jim's point, yeah, it's like the brown shirts.
Yeah. I mean, it got to the point where they were pushed around, and then Hitler's kicking down a door, slamming an MG36 on the table, and saying, "I'm in control." And then within a couple years, he's Grand Chancellor of Germany.
Yeah.
MG42.
You know,
Madus.
you know what I mean? Like it's
yeah.
it's exactly what happens. You know.
Well, I
It's
mean,
like,
the whole thing is like they gave him the power to think that he would, or they thought that he would be, appeased if he was given power. But Yeah.
I don't know. I always thought with Hitler, like, there was a bit. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm fucking talking about this shit, especially at like
Right?
7:30 in the fucking morning. 7:30 in
It
the
always
morning.
goes back to Hitler with us.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hitler Talk Radio.
We are now reaching 7:30, so it's the Hitler hour.
Yes.
We debate
8:30 Eastern if you're
1940s.
We're
We
nearly
debate
done with the
19
stream. Time to talk about Hitler, like we always do.
we debate 1940s German politics.
It's the 14th hour, and as you know,
Would you like to recite some words?
oh my god.
It's the Hitler hour. It's 8 a.m.
But like, I always thought, like, with him, like, it was kind of to Jim's point, like he was pushed under. He built up enough loyalty. I mean, look, the loyalty even carried over to the United States. There was a lot of people during the time, like prior to 35, that really supported Hitler, and were like, oh, this guy's like the underdog. They went for the underdog. I mean, pretty soon the underdog got in power, and then they're like, bad choice. But I just, I think that's
Lindbergh
how
and
Lindbergh,
Ford Sr.
Rockefeller was supporting and like giving fuel oil and everything to them throughout the beginning of the fucking war, until I think he actually got banned through some FDR shit. But like, he Rockefeller and oh god, what was his
Funny how we
Standard
imported
Oil.
a bunch of Nazis after the war too.
Yeah, Standard Oil. I mean, and then you've got the post-war stuff. You've got not just Oppenheimer, but Oppenheimer was during the war. But what's his name with the rocket program?
Oh, Werner von Braun.
Von Braun. Thank you. Like, and there was really crazy stuff there that's been brought up and buried and brought up again. Like,
I mean, hell, we already had our own rocket program for like space and whatnot.
Yeah.
We didn't really even need him.
No.
He needed us more than anything.
No, he had some slight technical advice, but like, really, yeah. I just I don't know. I feel like when you do this kind of stuff and you subjugate, like, not allow speech like this, it just makes things, it brings it to a boiling point. I think, ironically, I could even go as far as to say, because of this, now you're seeing stuff happening in present day. Like, I think this is where you get to people doing, presidential assassinations and stuff like that.
It radicalizes people.
Yeah, thank you. The
I mean, to get it off on like a less serious note, but it's still tied to the same subject. Did you guys know that during the whole Roswell incident, that people suspected that it was the Russians who had captured Nazi scientists for their own rocket program?
Yeah.
And they were like the quote unquote life forms that were recovered and shit were actually the experimented remains of children from Joseph Mengele.
Oh shit. No, I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, it's a wild theory, but given how he liked to do experimental surgeries on children.
Yeah, especially twins and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, they believe it's like one of the theories because they had the fucking flying church bell.
Yep.
As like one of their like hover technologies and whatnot. It basically they tied that in for the Roswell incident to explain the life forms.
Huh.
That it was like a Russian Soviet psyop of some sort. Or not Russian Soviet, but Soviet Nazi psyop.
I never heard that. That's kind of an interesting story.
Yeah. I mean, it was actually because the first time I heard about it was in that TV show Project Blue Book.
Okay, yep.
And the generals in the show were treating it as if it was the truth of the matter. Instead of aliens, it was just Dr. Mengele's like twisted remains of his experiments.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and I looked into it, and there's actually a theory that is pretty not substantive, but it is believable to an extent.
Detailed enough.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually really good, and I agree with both Jim and Dick on a lot of their points. But what I will show, however, is Jim's final appearance on the kill stream.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Dick, for lending your power to the kill stream once again to future Hall of Famers here. Very kind to come on and have this discussion and stay a little bit extra, too. I'll give you the final thoughts here. I'll start with you, Jim. If you can hear me. Can you hear me?
You know, in hindsight, I honestly want to say, like, if it came down to it and, like, I got monetized, I still think I would talk about shit like this because I'd rather have the fucking speech than the fucking money. Like,
Same.
I just, as much as, like, the money would be helpful, especially right now, like, the fucking limiting factor of some of this speech is, like, ridiculous, and it just goes so far against my own standards and morals.
I mean, honestly, it's kind of like come full circle. It's like if you really want to do YouTube for what it was like back in the day, you can't expect money.
No.
It just took a long time for it to square itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people
you
just became too attached to the idea of making money through it.
can do the hustle and grind and make a career out of it. You can be successful. I'd rather keep it real. I'd rather have talks about this shit. Because that's how you fucking learn. Like, that's my biggest problem with this shit. That's how you learn. When you hear contrasting opinions on stuff, is how you figure out things and make your own opinions.
And you can't have fun either.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with like America's Untold Stories, like they're talking about the fucking JFK assassination and they're still monetized.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. It's like a rules for thee, but not for me. Like certain people, like mainstream media channels, can get away with saying crazy shit like that, but then you have somebody say the
They
same
can
message.
say, pedophile, rape, child molester, all that shit, and it's not gonna give them a yellow fucking dollar sign or red.
No.
Yeah.
Like, you can have court cases saying that.
Yeah, that's the bullshit of the tiered system.
That's the shit that really gets to me because, like, look, if we're gonna talk about stuff and this is the terms and stuff used by litigators, why can we not talk about it?
You know, that's the other thing. Have you ever noticed, like, whenever the news channels, like on YouTube, talk about a certain subject, that they don't get that fucking bullshit box underneath the title?
Yeah.
You know, leading you to either Encyclopedia Britannica or Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
this
and
is
let's
not a
talk
credible
about
source.
let's talk about Wikipedia being labeled as a credible source. Like,
I think
this
Colbert
is
pretty
just-
much proved that back in the day.
this is just literally a group forum with like some moderate to depending on the subject, moderate to high information on a niche subject. And it's like it's not the Bible. It's not the be all end all of like this is what you trust.
Oh, but yeah, again, the whole thing is it's like the idea of authoritative sources, and I'm thinking like, okay, argumentum ad what is it? The argument made by authority.
I'm fucking blanking. My brain's fried.
Yeah, I'm thinking too hard, but I've used this against Slug in a debate, and I'm thinking like, yeah, it's the same idea.
Yeah.
You're using authoritative sources. Well, authorities are basically decreeing something to be true, not really proving it.
Yeah.
It's an appeal to authority. Like if you believe
appeal to
that-
authority.
If you believe something as an authority, then that alone is the basis of the argument.
Yeah.
So like if CNN is the authority, if CNN says something, you
Well,
just believe CNN.
Fauci was the authority for the longest time, and it turned out he was a big fucking liar.
Yeah. And he's even
That's the
admitted to
problem
it.
with the that's the problem with authoritative sources. Why this fucking rule makes no fucking logical sense.
Fuck. All of my stuff goes back to like I developed a lot of these beliefs back with like the 2008 financial crisis because like a lot of that started brewing when I was still in high school, and like it interests me because economics interests me, but like there's a point where Alan Greenspan is talking about there are known knowns, there are unknown knowns, and it's like, well, wait a minute, you guys are in charge of the fucking money for our entire country.
Wait, Alex Greenspan used that?
No, Alan Greenspan. Yeah.
Oh, Alan.
Yeah.
Wait, so he literally plagiarized Donald Rumsfeld for why we should go into fucking Iraq.
Yeah,
The unknown known speech.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's literally a Greenspan. It was like when he was going before the commission on like the whole what the hell happened with TARP and all that shit, and like he's like, well, we have known knowns, we have unknown knowns, and like I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah, the Donald Rumsfeld speech for the war in Iraq.
yeah,
And then the Boondocks parody. Yeah, they basically spell it out. The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
yeah.
Like that's basically what the unknown known speech is about.
But it's like if we're talking about that kind of stuff, and you guys are the people in power, we ought to be having fucking discussions like this to know what your known knowns and your unknown knowns are.
Well, there are known unknowns, which
Yeah.
and unknown unknowns, so we're completely clueless.
Trying to find it really quick.
It's like we know that there's an unknown amount of weapons in Iraq. There's, however, we do not know what we do know. No, what was the unknown known? Which is basically we don't know what they know.
Yeah. There's the known knowns. There's the things we know that they know we know.
Everybody knows.
There's the unknown knowns. There are things that
we don't know that they do.
That they know. And then there's
the known knowns, which is that there are weapons, but we don't know what quality or size they are, or
But yeah,
and then there are the unknown knowns, which is like we'll just stick our dick in the sand and hope it doesn't get chopped off.
But yeah, there's a interview, and I can't find it right now. My brain's fucked. But where Greenspan's literally talking about that, like he literally word for word, if not nearly word for word, rips off the same thought process.
Yeah,
and it's when he's apologizing for the financial crisis.
I gotta tell you, Mad Money with that. Who's that one douchebag that fucking Jon Stewart tore into?
Oh.
He'd had up all the fucking sound effects like it was a Glenn Beck show on Fox.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Oh well.
I can't think of it because there's a bunch of characters involved. That there's Hank. I can't think of it. He's from Goldman Sachs. He was the head of Federal Reserve, and then there's Greenspan. There's another guy, and I think that's who you're talking about, and I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I mean, he's considered an authoritative source, but he was fucking people over during the 2008 financial crisis.
Yeah,